Hey, it's Monday at noon, which means it's time for Ski-U-Mah Weekly here on the Gopher Sports Facebook page. Thanks to the Minnesota Lottery. Welcome one and all. I'm Justin Gaard from KFAN Radio, sideline reporter for the Gopher Radio Network. Happy to be joined today by, well, he needs no introduction. He's been on the show a lot. You know who this man is, but for those of you who are new, volleyball coach Hugh McCutcheon. Coach, thanks for taking the time.
Good day. Yeah, good. Thanks for having us.
You guys are 25-4 this season, 14-4 in the Big Ten. You're entering your final regular season weekend, which we'll spend a little time talking about, but since we last had you on the show, which was about a month or so ago, how do you feel like the season has kind of gone for you now that it's almost over here, coming down to the home stretch?
It's hard to believe that we're almost there. I think it's been a good year, honestly. The amount of changeover we had from last season to this season, the amount of young athletes that have come in and had an immediate impact, I think we're doing really well. And we've lost the last couple of weekends, but against good teams on their court when they're playing well, and that sometimes happens. So overall, really proud of the group, and certainly excited for what's to come.
We will have some time to take a couple of Facebook questions. If there are any out there, drop them in the comments section. We'll try to get to those in a little while. And remember, the question of the day will win a Minnesota Lottery prize pack. So get your questions in early and often. After a couple more from me, you mentioned kind of the molding of the team from young players to some experienced players. How do you feel like that whole process went this year? Was it any different than other years with some of the impactful freshmen you brought in?
Yeah, I think it was quite unique in that regard, that there was a large turnover. But maybe most importantly, the seniors that were there were already very grounded or connected to the culture or to the way that we want to operate. And so the mentoring that took place was quite impressive. I thought our seniors and our upperclassmen in general did a wonderful job of helping the newcomers really integrate and get connected and get on the same page.
Along those lines, you'll honor 4 seniors this weekend. It's the final regular season weekend. Of course, you're expected to host the first couple of rounds of the NCAAs, and who knows after that. But what will you take from this senior class, or what will you remember? I know I'm asking you to reflect in the middle of a year, but as you kind of look back on their careers, what stands out?
Well, all of them have contributed to the program in lots of different ways, and this is the last group that was part of kind of our 2014 season where we really had to figure a bunch of stuff out, and so there's a lot of great pride I have in that group, the amount of trust they showed in us to do the work that it took to go to back-to-back Final Fours in 15 and 16 after a tough year in 14. They really committed to us, and I hope they had a great experience here. But they certainly honored their commitment to us. No question.
Where's kind of the team's mindset at this point, where you have this last weekend to get through? We'll talk about Penn State on Saturday night, which people can watch on the Big Ten Network. That's been sold out for weeks. That'll be scalpers again on University selling tickets. But what's the difficulty of kind of managing, a couple of matches left to play in a regular season before you turn that page to the NCAA tournament?
We've always talked about playing it match to match and point to point, and I think that's exactly what it is for us. People want to talk about Penn State, but we got to play on Friday against Rutgers first, and that's where our focus will be. And it's always good to battle against good teams, so we'll look forward to the weekend in general. But then we'll see what the committee says on Sunday, and we'll get to work. And the mad scramble for putting plans together and getting the data and getting the video and getting all that up and running to get ready for our next opponent will start. But first things first.
Rutgers, tell us a little bit about them before we talk about Penn State.
Yeah, I mean, a new team, obviously, to the conference with Maryland when they joined, and I think volleyball has been something that's on their radar, but I think now it's becoming more important to them, so I think they're getting better support. I think they're doing a good job recruiting. I think things are on the up, but obviously right now they've been one of the teams at the lower end of the division. So we'll see how it goes. But again, it's good quality Big Ten volleyball, and hopefully that leads us into a nice match on Saturday.
There are tickets available for the Rutgers match Friday, 7 o'clock at Maturi Pavilion. You can also watch it on BTN Plus online on the Big Ten Network Saturday night, 7:30. It is Penn State. You kind of remarked, I think, remarkable when we brought up the fact that tickets have been sold out forever, and we know that the brokers in town are probably pretty happy on Saturday night. They'll be down there selling those again. But do you ever in your wildest dreams, you've been in gold medal matches, you've been in Olympics, you know all about the ticket game, but that has to kind of strike a chord when you realize
it's incredible. Someone was telling me on StubHub you can buy a ticket for $150 to go to Penn State Minnesota volleyball game. That's incredible to me. But it's cool. I mean, incredible. That's amazing that we get that amount of support and that people are interested in connecting with what we're about. It's wonderful.
Let's take a couple of Facebook questions as they have. It's Hugh to Hugh. I don't know if you know Hugh Gitlin, but he knows Hugh McCutcheon. He wants to know about the serve receive from the last few matches. How do you work on improving that if you think that is something you need to improve on? Well,
yeah, I think we've been okay in serve receive, but it's always a critical part of our game is the first contact. So, even on Saturday, I think overall, at least according to our data, the serve pass battle wasn't the difference. It was more a side out battle. But we'll keep working on it today like we work on every week. But if we can pass well, generally that bodes well for the rest of our game.
I lied to the audience earlier. Unfortunately, Rutgers is now sold out. So you had like 9 seconds to buy tickets there on gophersports.com. But Rutgers is sold out as well. BTN Plus for that match, Big Ten Network on Saturday for Penn State. You mentioned, lastly, the quick turnaround where you've got these final regular season matches. Then Sunday night, 8 o'clock, ESPNU, you've got the selection show. Mm-hmm. What's the challenge of that? You obviously have an idea, I'm sure, and have done some background work on teams that are going to make the NCAA tournament, where those teams might go, but the quick turnaround from Sunday to bang, we've got to figure out who we're playing.
It's and as much as you would think you could speculate, I mean we're preparing for this week's opponents.
Sure.
And so the idea that we would somehow have a skeleton plan on the other potential 63 teams is a little bit beyond us. We'll find out on Sunday night. We'll get to work right away. Start getting the video together and getting the data together and start working on a plan. But we've always maintained that the plan is important, and certainly we need to know a lot about our opponents. But for us, one of the consistent themes throughout the last few years has been our improvement.
Sure.
So as much as we're going to learn about who we're playing, we'll also learn a lot about ourselves this weekend, and we got to get better ourselves.
Another Facebook question here from Jana. Hi, Coach. So proud to be a true Golden Gopher volleyball fan. Tickets bought for Kansas City. We're hopeful the Gophers will be in attendance. My question is, no pressure there.
Yeah.
Do you think the national champions will come out of the Big Ten? Asking you to look a month in advance now.
Well, yeah, it's certainly possible. Penn State is currently in the coaches poll ranked #1 and doing a nice job, no question. They're a senior-heavy crew, very talented, and they're playing well. Certainly, Nebraska also having a great season, and then you've got the Gophers and Michigan State and Wisconsin. There's a bunch of good teams right now. Purdue is when they're on, it's unbelievable. Michigan making a nice late surge here in the conference. Obviously, Illinois played very well against us on Saturday. So there's a ton of teams coming out of the Big that I would hope that the committee would consider and put into the tournament. Obviously, there's strength in the pack, and Florida, Kentucky, a lot of teams having lots of good seasons.
Sure.
So it's hard for me to say, hey, I can guarantee a Big Ten win. But I think we've earned the right to put a bunch of teams in there. I do think that this year we've been an incredibly balanced and strong conference, and hopefully the committee sees that, and if we put enough teams in, then maybe our chances go up, right?
Just, the math, the sheer math of it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Carry the 2 or whatever.
He's the math guy. Lastly, Brian Hugh, who do you feel might be an X factor for you guys come tournament time? If that's even fair to put a certain pressure on that.
It's a good question. I think we've had a number of people contribute. One of the things that I think is really important for us of late is Molly Lohman's ability to be consistent on the offensive end.
One of your seniors.
Yeah, she's really made some nice changes, and it's good to see her not just hitting for a good number, but getting a good number of swings. We need that. So I think, between her and Reagan's been pretty consistent throughout the year. But now the fact that Molly's taken a bigger offensive load, I think that helps spread our offense a little bit more. Certainly Dalian Liz is going to have to, also another senior, is going to be another, X factor in terms of just her leadership and the consistency. We talked about the passing, but and that's been pretty steady for her. But just also on the defensive end, the leadership and the amount of emotion she can bring when those things are firing for us is pretty important. So I'd say between those two, maybe there's some magic there if they can both get it going.
Perhaps some senior magic there. Well, I've asked you this before on our podcast, but how do you balance? They've seen the clock. It probably feels like they just got here yesterday, but they know that the clock is running out on them, so to speak. So a lot of emotions, I would have to imagine. How do you make sure those are channeled in the right way for the upperclassmen?
Well, we
seniors?
talk all the time about this idea that you don't want what you want get in the way of what you have to do to get it. And a lot of our rhetoric, or a lot of the conversations in our team and our locker are about the idea that we're going to talk more about energy than we are about emotion, and that we really need to exhibit some emotional control. Because if we can, control what we're doing, we're going to be a little bit better about controlling our performance. And so, as much as they might want that stuff to kind of seep in, we ask them to certainly stay strong and be the seniors that they are, and understand that all the good things come to an end. And but we're not done yet. And when it's over, then we can talk about it being over. But hopefully, there's a lot of meat on the bone.
Lastly, part two. Another one. Regular season almost over. What is the main focus for these last matches to help you prepare for the NCAA tournament?
Well, as we said, our commitment's to improvement every week, and I think this group has shown a lot of that. I know there's been some variance within our performance, but really for a young crew to be standing here at 25-4, it's certainly beyond my expectations. I believe that we'll get better this week, and there's some things that we learned over the weekend, some weaknesses that were exploited that'll help us to be better. I would imagine the same will be said for next week. So to me, it's not about playing some kind of special NCAA volleyball. I think we just got to continue to play Gopher Volleyball, continue to build on this foundation that we've been putting together over the last 4 months, and hopefully be at our best when our best is needed.
We'll let you get back to preparing for that final weekend of the regular season and in the tournament. Thanks for taking the time, Coach.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
That's Hugh McCutcheon, volleyball. Reminder, Rutgers and Penn State this weekend at the PAV. Tickets sold out for both of those, but as we mentioned, there are secondary market options there for you. BTN Plus on Friday night, Big Ten Network on Saturday night, and then the volleyball selection show for the NCAA tournament Sunday night, 8 o'clock on ESPNU. We'll be back in just a second here on the Gopher Facebook page to talk cross country. Stay with us.
There you go. Thanks, everybody.
Gophers, Badgers, Saturday at 2:30 at TCF Bank Stadium.
Welcome back to Ski-U-Mah Weekly here, presented by the Minnesota Lottery on the Gopher Sports Facebook page. We transitioned from volleyball to cross country, and we're in the Bierman Gym. If you can't tell, the lights are a little low, but when we're in the Bierman Gym, we're contractually obligated to talk to the cross country coach, Sarah Hopkins. So here she is. It's 2 for 2 now in this gym, talking to Coach Hop, as I like to call her. What's going on? Thanks for joining us.
Not much. Thanks for having me. We just wrapped up the season this weekend. So
you did. NCAA championships. I saw you with your son getting prepared for it last week. Yes. We have a son about the same age, not that you care, but
both Jacks.
Both Jacks, so it's all good. But you were preparing to go to Louisville for the NCAA championships. You finished 19th. You were ranked 21st going in.
Yep.
I know you had hopes of maybe finishing in the top 10, but give us a little bit of breakdown of how you thought the race went.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling to be a little disappointed with 19th. I think most programs in the country would be pretty psyched to be 19th. We had some big goals and some big aspirations. I think we came into the season really believing that this was a special group. We wanted to try to win a Big Ten title. We ended up being second, which was really, really a great performance there, and then we wanted to be a top 12 team in the country, and we fell a little short of that, but I think overall we had a group that got there that 6 out of our 7 had never run at an NCAA meet before, and so this meet's very different than any other meet they ever run, and I think there was a lot of deer in the headlights from some of our young kids, and they really pulled that together, and they fought hard the whole time, and that's all I ever ask of them is the gun goes off and you fight for 20 minutes until you get to the finish line, and we did that, and it just wasn't quite the perfect day, but overall a really solid performance. And if you look at the body of work from the whole year, it was a pretty spectacular year for the women, especially with a relatively young group. So not much to hang our heads about, even though in the moment you get a little, doom and gloom a little bit, but I think we rebounded well. We went out to dinner and had a good time, and everybody got in better spirits as the day went along. But yeah, 19th in the country. We ended up beating 2 teams from the Midwest that had beat us the week before in Iowa State. We beat Iowa State and Oklahoma State, and so that was nice to kind of get a little win on those guys after they beat us a week ago. So some positives to take from it.
You said something interesting right after the race, I think, about how the team did everything that you asked them to do. You wanted to be aggressive, and it sounds like, at least at that moment, you were reflecting a little bit on if that was the right thing to do. But take me through, because you were out in front, it seemed like, for a while, and maybe you regret that in the end.
Yeah, I don't regret might be a strong word, but I think, at that race with that course, everyone wants to get out hard. People that know cross country, it bottlenecks pretty quickly, and you want to get in position, and we did a great job of that, and we kind of raced the way we've been racing all year. But, hindsight's 2020. You look back at the results and you see, Michigan State's a team we race a lot. We beat them every time we saw them this year. They ended up starting off in about 24th place as a team and moved up into 14th. We started in 12th as a team and moved back to 19th. And, we kind of raced we just raced our race. But on that day with those conditions, with that type of course, it just didn't quite go well. If you could, like I said, if I could run it again the next day, I probably would have given them a little bit different strategy. But we had a freshman, Abby Coat-Jackson, who I told to go out in 150th place, and she went out in 150th place. Almost dead on, and had a rough last couple K, but that's what I asked her to do. And you want athletes that'll do what you ask them to do, and it's on me at the end as a coach that it didn't quite work the way we thought it was going to work. But yeah, it's more frustrating when they go off the cuff at the race and then it doesn't work, and it's like, oh man, then that's on them. But this one was on me, so I'll take any blame that is there. I'll take it from maybe sending us a little too aggressively early.
So what did you learn about your team, I guess is not the right way to put it, but what you mentioned, 6 of the 7 had never raced in this race. Give us a little sense of, we've talked about the GRIAC before, that's why you were in here last time, but what makes this race so much different than any other that you'll run?
Every team is good. There's 31 teams there. Every team there is good. There's 255 athletes on the line, and there's nobody in that race that's bad. GRIAC has 5 or 6 really elite teams, and then 10 teams that really aren't so great, or mid-majors or things like that. Even the Big Ten has 6 really elite national level teams, and then 8 teams that maybe aren't quite on that level. Same with the region. And so you get in here, and it's very easy to be in 200th place and think like, oh man, this is not going well, when actually 200th place is pretty good at this meet. And so it's just learning that and learning how to do it. Even Megan and Bethany Haas, who are both All-American caliber athletes for us, that are both sophomores, got in there, and I don't think they've ever placed 70th in a race ever. And that's still really good. Obviously, we were going for top 40. That's All-American. But they both finished, and I was like, hey, what'd you guys learn? And they just looked at me like, oh, man, it went out really hard. I'm like, yep, that's being here for the first time. And I think we paid the piper a little bit for not qualifying last year. Last year was the first year in a long time we weren't at the meet. And I don't think we would have been a great team last year, but we would have gotten a lot of experience. And so, again, that's something that's hard to have a great team and then have a team that's really inexperienced at the same time, and you're gonna run into some stickiness. And I think this was honestly the first race that we really saw that show through, which is pretty impressive to have a whole season where it takes till the very end to really see some of the inexperience shine through.
Last thing, so take us maybe not all the way to next year, but in terms of what happens now in terms of your schedule. I know that a lot of your athletes will continue with the track season. You've got that. We've got the new track coming here. Give us a little bit of sense of what happens now moving towards next year.
Yeah, it's fun for us in some ways because we don't have to wait too long to get some revenge. We can take 2 weeks off and then get right back at it for indoor track. Everyone we have races indoor track and then races outdoor track, and so we've got an awesome track team right now. We're hopefully going to be in this, Coach Bingle will hopefully be in this chair a lot this spring talking to you guys about track, because we really believe we've got a team that can win the Big Ten indoor and outdoor titles, and the distance group is a really big part of that. So we've got to take care of business now, really take care of bodies, rest, relax emotionally, physically, recharge batteries from now until kind of through December, even though they'll start training again, kind of do it on a low-key level, because we hit January 1 and we're back to business. These guys are the only athletes on campus that are literally in season from August 25th until June 15th for most of them, and that's a long time to be competing. And so we got to take care of business now from a rest and regeneration standpoint, and then really focus on the track goals. And I think keep building into next year's cross country season. I already over the weekend start thinking about next November, which is crazy, but I do think we've got a group that can come back and do it again next fall and have a just as good, if not a better year next fall. And so my job to keep recruiting and keep getting those guys better, and them having them learn through track season will also help us next fall. Not only help us on the track, but keep growing and developing so that next fall we're a better group, even with just the group that we have here.
Well, keep working on recruiting and hang out with Jack a little bit, the youngster.
I will do my best.
Indoor starts.
He misses some mama time, so we're gonna have a good holiday season with some family time, and then back on the road.
Outstanding. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Sarah Hopkins, women's cross country, as you mentioned, track and field as well. We'll talk about that when the spring comes around. Thanks again, everybody watching here on Minnesota Facebook page. We've got our question of the week winner, Jana. I think she wanted to go down to Kansas City, if I remember correctly. She wants to make sure Gopher Volleyball is there. That all starts next week, but thanks, Jana. You will win a Minnesota Lottery prize pack. We will be in touch about that. From all of us here at Ski-U-Mah Weekly and Gopher Digital Productions, we thank you for watching, and as always, we thank the Minnesota Lottery for the chance.